You are listening to Inside IASB, a podcast series dedicated to informing and encouraging Illinois School Board members. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. My name is Isaac Warren. I'm the Director of Digital Communications at the Illinois Association of School Boards. And with me today, I am honored to have the President and Vice President of IASB with me, Mark Harms and Tracie Sayre. And we're going to be talking about the IASB Constitution Review that's going to be coming up this Delegate Assembly this year at conference. So thank you guys for coming on the podcast. I'm really excited.
You're welcome.
Thank you for letting us come in.
Absolutely. So let's just dive right in, and let's just first things first, kind of establish a foundation. What is the IASB Constitution?
So the IASB Constitution is kind of our major policies that are established by our members at our delegate assemblies. So again, if you think of that as that high level direction for our association, I want to make sure everyone understands it is changed 2/3 vote by the delegate assemblies when we were at our conference up in Chicago. And they really are what govern our association. And as president of the board of directors, I mean, this is our marching orders as directors. As we're doing business for the association, what is the membership saying we should do? So we look at the Constitution as that's what's setting the direction we should be going.
Gotcha. And so with this Constitution review, can you explain the timeline of the review and kind of what we can expect going forward for how often it'll be reviewed?
So yeah, just a little background, in our resolutions process, that's where a member district can send in a suggestion of what they want to change. And over the last couple of years, we've seen some that have come forward that relate to more to our Constitution. And these have been, and some other comments that have come up. And so we had several of them. And so last November, when we were at our board of directors meeting, the decision was made that we would form an ad hoc committee to kind of bundle these together and have a group take a look at all of these changes. So that's what happened in November. We decided to kick this off the end of January, but it was not going to be led by just board of directors. It was a subset of our board of directors. We also had members from the resolutions committee that we had selected to be part of this process. And then we selected some of the, what we call districts at large, the schools at large, that are not in those two groups, but we wanted to get that feeling from across the state. Some of them were maybe they submitted a resolution that was close to some of these Constitution changes. So we felt like they were passionate about the change and we wanted to include them into our discussion. So we formed that committee and that what we call an ad hoc committee on the constitutional review, and kicked that off the end of January. And one of our first meetings, we decided that with the number of topics that we had, to have all that done by the entire group all the time was going to take a lot of our individual time. So the decision was made to form some subcommittees on some of these different topics. So kind of the cadence was the whole group would to get together and say, okay, this is the next topic and here's a subcommittee. Then they would meet, kind of drive it down into some possible direction for everybody, taking a look at that, come back then and present to the large group, and they would vote on those type of things. And I thought it worked very well. So the people that were really interested in a certain topic, they made sure they got on that subcommittee so they could give their input. I thought we had some great dialogue. And it was not at the start of the meeting, everyone all agreed on what the direction should be. But through the conversation and the debate that would go along, it was amazing how many of them ended up being, oh, we all agree this is the direction. So that went until the end of March. And from that committee, then they took that to our policy review committee, which is a subset of the board of directors, to kind of give their input into this. They did not make a lot of changes. It was more maybe a tweak here, a tweak there from their perspective, but really leveraging what came out of that ad hoc committee.
So once the review has left the policy committee, what happens then and what's the next step?
Once it's left the policy review committee that is made up of the board of director members, they provided input and changes. And then finally that was brought forward to the executive committee as a final draft for any edits and approval. And then that executive committee took it to the board of directors.
Okay, gotcha. So it starts off in all these committees and it works its way up finally to board of directors, and they're ultimately the ones who approve it all. Gotcha. Okay, and that's like almost a full year process. That's a long time, but it needs to be pretty exhaustive, I'm sure, to get all these going
There were
through.
lots of meetings, lots of subcommittee meetings, different committees. Yeah.
Awesome. So going forward, how often do you think we can expect reviews of the Constitution to occur?
So within our board of directors policies, we have that we are going to, as board of directors, review the Constitution every 2 years on the even number of years. Now, we've done that in the past, but mostly it's been small changes here and there that we would recommend to be considered at the board of directors or at the Delegate Assembly. This was totally different. As you're going to see in the number of changes and topics, it was just too large for a board of directors to take a look at. At the same time, we do want our members to know that the directors are reviewing it. It's not like, oh, the Constitution review has been done, we're going to put it on the shelf and not look at it again. We want to make sure that the directors are reviewing that to see if there's any changes that need to be made.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's like a really good cadence to have then every 2 years. It kind of lines up with election years, I think, right? So talking more about the amendments themselves, how will they be presented at the Delegate Assembly, and how will members be voting on them?
They will be a part of the consent agenda by section. So there will be 10 different sections. And for example, section 2, section 3, section 4 that we're going to talk about on this podcast.
All right. Yeah, I'm really excited to get into some of the sections. So what are some of the more substantial amendments that will be voted on?
I would say 2, 3, 4 are some of the largest ones. With Article 2 regarding membership, we consolidated the verbiage under the general heading for all classes of membership to avoid redundant language. So it clarifies the career and technical education programs can be affiliate members because of the service they provide to students. So CT programs are similar to special education cooperatives that are already members, and they are authorized by the school code and are eligible to become affiliate members. So Article 3 actually is around the voting procedures at the Delegate Assembly. And we continue to receive inquiries into why districts cannot vote via email. The subcommittee noted that more information is needed and additional efforts should be taken to increase Delegate Assembly attendance before making a substantial change to the Constitution that would allow for email voting. Although there were concerns with allowing email voting, included the importance of IASB membership gathering once a year to discuss educational issues and the negative impact email voting could have on attendance, as well as the importance of debating the resolutions for many districts prior to voting.
And that one specifically, that one is not changing the way that Delegate Assembly voting takes place, but it's just adding some flexibility into if we wanted to change in the future.
That is correct.
Okay,
yes.
gotcha.
Yes. It gives that resolutions committee more, and the board of directors more authority to pursue that in the future once we have investigated how that would happen.
Okay, gotcha. And you mentioned one more, and I believe that one's regarding 2-year terms for president and vice president as opposed to current 1-year terms. Is that correct?
That's correct. And this is the one section that has come up from a previous discussion. This amendment had been proposed a few years ago. There was debate, and there was not enough of a change to make to our Constitution. At the same time, the resolution subcommittee this time took a look at that one again for several reasons. Number one, the traditional process has been 2 1-year terms, and everyone has done that. There's still some flexibility from some other things if there was a situation where somebody had to only do one term. There's some things that we could do. But we really felt like, number one, there's several reasons why we should go this direction. First of all, there's a lot of benefit from a person doing it for 2 years in their planning. It's like a lot of a position. The first year is a lot of learning going on, and you strategically, as the board president, it's really tough to do that second year until you really learn the first year. And I think that's one of the biggest things it has. It really helps your strategic planning. I know I've talked to other state associations at some of the COSBA events, and this topic has come up. What do other states do? And as I said, we do 2 one-year terms, but we're looking at presenting this year to change to 1 2-year terms. And overall, it was just like, I wish our state could go to that, because it does give you that longer term benefit of a person being in that position. The last thing, there's a cost to doing this. I mean, in order for us to do this every year, it is one of those situations where you have to have your nominating committee come in and interview candidates. The candidates need to go through the process. Our support staff to get all that organized. So there is a cost to this also. I don't want people to think that the reason we want to make the change is to save the cost, but at the same time, if we're not getting a change from that, why not save that particular cost?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if it's an efficiency that can be improved upon, it's always good to do and evaluate and see if that's something that can free up resources for stuff down the line or in that current year.
And I think there was, the last time it came up for debate, there was some discussion that was made, that was had around, well, your local board, are they still supporting you? And that type of thing. Well, we found out there's other policies and there's other ways that if a local board said, we no longer support our member to do that for whatever reason, there's other ways that you could have that discussion without automatically going through each one of these things as a 2 one-year term.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Are there any other amendments that you would like to mention, or?
We did want to talk a little bit about Article 8, Section 4, which is the division officers would be required to complete an online training course provided by the association at no cost to help them with learning about their authority, roles, and responsibilities. And it is an effective way to ensure that those who fill those positions clearly understand their role and responsibilities within those divisions.
Gotcha. And are there current, is there training right now that they're required to take, or is
this
brand new?
This is brand new. It'd be 30 minutes free of charge. It's an online training course that IASB developed.
Okay.
For this purpose.
Very cool. Yeah, it's really nice to have people to offer some resources for some clarity about what that position holds, because it's very different from just being on a board. So, and that's a really good opportunity to have. Provide some clarity and resources for division officers. And you were a division officer previously, correct? Okay.
Yes, correct. We both were.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could have.
I also served on the resolutions committee prior to becoming a board of director.
Gotcha. Yeah. I'm sure you both probably maybe wish you would have had a half-hour training or something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think first of all, the directors have already went through this training, and we felt, even some of us that have been directors for a few years, we don't want to say how many, but for a few years, we still learned something. You picked up a nugget that you didn't realize that, that particular division officer was also responsible for. And I think that's kind of what we're looking at, is really making sure everyone understands what their role will be and that they can do it more effectively.
Yeah, that's excellent. We want to make sure everyone's clear on their roles and able to execute their position as efficiently as they can. Are there any additional, we've talked a lot about these amendments. Are there any additional resources that we can point members to so they can learn some more information about what's going to be happening at Delegate Assembly with this resolution?
Absolutely. We have multiple communication channels planned with printed materials, FAQs, emails, website access, online communities, social media, and then news. So we will also have informational sessions, which will be provided at the division meetings, as well as 3 webinars planned. So the webinars are planned for September 11th, October 9th, and November 13th. And then we will also have a panel session on Friday at the conference.
Excellent. Okay. So we'll even have on-site resources the day prior to, or?
The first day.
The first day of conference.
Day of the pre-conference sessions. Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. What should board members be doing to prepare for the Delegate Assembly, and how can they get involved in what you're talking, these upcoming webinars and discussions, especially if they're maybe a new board member who want to participate, maybe aren't sure what this is?
Yeah, I think starting off, first thing is be informed. I mean, Tracie just went through a lot of different avenues that you can learn about what these things are. but just get informed. One that I'm just going to pull out, we talk about at the division meetings. We're going to make sure that in the fall division meetings, we have a time where if you have questions that you can come up and ask, okay, what was really the rationale on this change? Did you think about this? And having that conversation. I think we can send a lot of information, and I think our staff does an unbelievable job of getting the information out. But I think there's also a time where we need to be able to answer your questions, and that'd be one way that you could do that. You could also call in to our outreach and training, and there's a lot of other areas, but I'm going to put a special plug in for that division meeting. Make sure if you have a question, why are we doing this? Let's talk about it, and let's make sure that you are informed.
Yeah. And it's a good reason to attend a division meeting and get that in person. Those questions answered in person really helps to kind of put not only a face to a name, kind of get familiar with your peers, but also get the answers you need for conference.
Absolutely. Just to note that I served as a delegate for many years. I'm sure, Mark, you did as well for my district. And I always had on the agenda for our local district, had that on the agenda to talk about the resolutions that are proposed for the constitutional changes for October or November. And so you can review those with your local board, come back with ideas and what their thoughts are, so that when you are at the Delegate Assembly, you can make a decision based on what is present in the room, what comments are happening at the time. So you want to keep your eye on your email from IASB announcing those webinars and register to attend. And then definitely make sure that your board has one member registered to be at the Delegate Assembly. It's very important. That's our grassroots efforts to tell our legislative arm how to move forward.
Yeah. And I think you made up a really good point about how boards can be very proactive and prepare ahead of time for the Delegate Assembly. I mean, we offer on-site registration for Delegate Assembly, but it is best to come prepared knowing who your delegate is and already telling them, like, here's how we would like you to vote on behalf of our board, just so no one's caught off guard and there's no last minute confusion, and it can be as smooth as possible. Is there anything else you'd like our members to know about the IASB Constitution Review coming up in October or November?
The only thing I'm going to say is I want to thank the committee members. I mean, because this was a little bit more time. All of a sudden on a Monday night, we had a virtual session to talk about a constitution change that I'm sure some of them had other things they would like to do. But really a thank you to everyone that was on that Constitution Review Committee and the commitment and the passion that they had moving forward. So thanks to all of them.
Absolutely. Yes. All right. Well, Mark, Tracie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and providing some context and clarity about what this is going to look like at Delegate Assembly, what our members can expect, and how they can learn more about it. This is a really cool experience and opportunity for boards to share their voice and opine on how the Constitution should be shaped and formed. So I hope everyone takes advantage of that and sends a delegate to the Delegate Assembly.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the podcast, and thank you for your dedicated volunteer service to public education. If you would like to stay up to date with future episodes, please consider following us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, or your platform of choice. Have a comment or question? We welcome listener feedback and invite you to send us an email at communications@iasb.com. Thank you.